So hi everybody, we are setting up for our Zoom online session. We're getting ready. The session is supposed to start at 2 in the afternoon. We are still waiting for everybody to come in online. Medyo intermittent po yung signal dito. I think inaayos na naman ng mga internet service provider yung line from Cagayan. So hi, Taste Good Kitchen. Mamaya, hindi na ako makagreet kasi magsisession na kami. So ayan. Good afternoon, everybody. Grabe ang picture ni Edwin, no? May naka-extra gilid mo. Hello, Cons Lagasta.
Hello, my friend.
Yes, what is your merienda?
Wala pa, babakala ko dun.
Uy, meron daw kayo doon. Kunin nyo lang kay Ma'am Tess.
Huwag mo i-mute ha, kay Balong.
Oh, hindi ko siya i-mute. Magalit yung best friend ko sa akin, nahirap na. Kayo lahat i-mute ko ha. Si Balong lang hindi. Ma'am Tess, pwede nang pakuha dyan yung aming, stipend, merienda. Wala, nakamute ka, ading.
Awantay, maganda. No.
Good, 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 good. Yun, yun.
Itong papel ko din mo din.
Yun. Alright. Sige. May video na ta. Okay, live na ko. I'm live. Okay, mga kanami.
Okay, ano lang.
Na-intro lang ka ha. Tapos ko intro, game na ta. Okay, mga kanami. Mayong hapon. Good afternoon, everyone. We are about to start our regular session for May 4th. May 4th, 2021. So, if we reason, dito sa Koronadal, lalo na lang sa sityo, medyo maraming kaso ng COVID, as we all know. So, it's better for us to do it online. Anyway, we can achieve also the same output even though we are online. Okay. So magandang po sa lahat ng mga kanami. Magsisimula na po tayo ng session for May 4 Tuesday session. Yon. Alright. So ito. Alright. So dito na mga kasama natin. Since may quorum na. Okay. Good afternoon everyone. Can you hear me? Narinig niyo po? Okay? Okay. Tumatamo sila. They can hear me and some of them are in mute mode so that dito para hindi garbled ang dating ng ating mga messages. Okay. Alright. So good afternoon everyone. Welcome to our weekly session, May 4, 2021, in the office of Sangguniang Panglungsod, City of Koronadal. This is an official function by our council, holding a weekly session during Tuesdays. Okay, so magandang hapon po sa lahat, mayang hapon. At this point, I'd like to call our session to order. And I'm requesting our Honorable Councilor Annabel Pingoy to lead the prayer.
Let us bow our heads and pray for God's blessing. Lord, thank you for this new wonderful day. Thank you for this gift of life. We realize we are standing strong, healthy, and alive. Bless each and every one of us gathered here through Zoom as we go to our daily tasks today. Guide our thoughts, words, and actions as we live our lives. Through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Thank you so much, Honorable Pingoy. At this point, we'll do away with the national anthem and all other hymns. And this time, I'm requesting our chair to do the roll call. Our secretary, I'm sorry.
Honorable Peter D. Miguel,
Present.
Honorable Edwin G. Abris,
Present.
Honorable Jose Henry D. Aguirre, Honorable Maylene May S. Bascondi Guzman, Honorable Handel D. R. Cadilleno Covilo,
Present.
Honorable Francis Ross S. Fideles,
Present.
Honorable Bernardo Bihinay, Honorable Marie Antonina I. Hurtado,
Present.
Honorable James M. Lagasca,
Present.
Honorable Pichi Luella Biugoy,
Present.
Honorable Annabel G. Pingoy,
Present.
Honorable Antonio S. Abing,
Present.
Honorable Gregorio O. Presga, Honorable Clarice Miti Surungon, Honorable Jose Henry D. Aguirre, Honorable Maylene May S. Bascondi Guzman, Honorable Bernardo Bihinay, Honorable Gregorio O. Presga, Honorable Carisme P. Surungon. Mr. Presiding Officer, 9 members of the Sanggunian are present, to include the Presiding Officer, and 5 members are still out.
With the presence of the majority of the members of this august body, our session today has hereby quorum.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Honorable Abris.
before we proceed further, Mr. Chair, I have here, I received a letter from the Office of the City Mayor addressed to the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod and to our Vice Mayor. This is actually a follow-up letter regarding the Memorandum of Agreement, Memorandum of Understanding with the National Nutrition Council Region 12, because the deadline of submission, I think, is on May 7, 2021. So I therefore move that this communication, Mr. Chair, be included in our order of business as item number 6 under communication in information. So moved.
In addition, having none, motion is approved. The inclusion of nutrition, regional nutrition MOU as item number 6. Next item.
Under first reading and referrals, item 1, communications and information, item 1, from Ms. Karen K. Pacardo, City Franchising Officer Designate, addressed to the City Vice Mayor and the honorable members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, letter dated April 26, 2021, requesting for the lifting of extension of deadline for the filing of all types of applications for MPOP, since COMELEC has already resumed its full operation.
This item is referred to the Committee on Transportation.
Item 2, from the City Mayor, addressed to the City Vice Mayor, Presiding Officer, and the honorable members of Sangguniang Panlungsod, letter dated April 29, 2021, endorsing the following for appropriate action. First, for adoption of the Supplemental Investment Plan, number 1, series of 2021. And for information, CDC Resolution number 10, series of 2021, endorsing the approval of the change of project location from rehabilitation of Line Canal at Purok Aurora 1 to construction of Line Canal at Purok Martinez, Block 2, Barangay Zone 4. And CDC Executive Committee Resolution number 1, series of 2021, recommending the approval of the change of location for the construction of bodega from Purok Magsaysay to Barangay Site o Barangay Rotonda, amounting to 250,000 pesos under the approved 20% local development fund 2021 to the Sangguniang Panlungsod.
The item on Supplemental Investment Plan, SIP number 1, series of 2021, is referred to the Committee on Finance. While the items under it, the 2 remaining items, the CDC Resolution number 10, as well as the CDC Exicom, is for information purposes only.
Item 3, from Joel C. o the Honorable Joel C. Damo, Punong Barangay, Barangay Namnama, addressed to the City Vice Mayor, Presiding Officer, and honorable members of Sangguniang Panlungsod, letter dated April 30, 2021, submitting for review Barangay Ordinance number 1, series of 2021, an ordinance requiring all residents to clean the sidewalks or roadside fronting their homes, establishments, and home lots within Barangay Namnama, City of Koronadal, South Cotabato.
This item is referred to the Committee on Barangay Affairs.
Item 4, letter dated April 29, 2021, requesting the August body to review and approve the City of Koronadal Comprehensive Development Plan, Climate and Disaster Risk Assessment, Mainstream, for planning period 2020 to 2025.
This item is referred to the Committee on Environment.
Item 5, letter dated May 3, 2021, transmitting copies of Executive Order Number 17, Series of 2021, an order amending Executive Order Number 59, Series of 2020, otherwise known as an Executive Order amending Executive Order Number 7, Series of 2020, an Executive Order establishing the policies and guidelines for the implementation of the Barangay Empowerment Program and creating its task force evaluation team effective fiscal year 2021 and the years thereafter.
This item is referred is for information purposes only.
Letter dated May 3, 2021, addressed to the City Vice Mayor and the Honorable Members of Sangguniang Panlungsod. A follow-up letter on the request for an authority to enter into MOA with the National Nutrition Council Regional 12.
Motion sa calendar. MOU. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Pingoy.
Mr. Chair, this matter was referred to us last month, but no action was taken because I was placed on quarantine for 21 days and couldn't personally attend to the matter and call for a committee meeting. In this regard, Mr. Chair, I move that this be taken out of the Committee on Health and referred to the Committee of the Whole and be treated as urgent, for the deadline was set on May 7, that is 3 days from now. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Having none, this item number 6 is now referred to the Committee of the Whole.
As well, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
aside from item number 6, Mr. Chair, I think the motion of the Honorable Pingoy is to take out from the committee the referral of the request for authority to enter into an MOU, because it was referred
I did not get the last few words of your initial statement, Honorable Abris.
Mr. Chairman,
Can you repeat your statement for record purposes?
Mr.
Hello?
Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Honorable Hurtado.
I think the signal of the Honorable Abris is intermittent, Mr. Chairman. But the gist of what the Honorable Abris mentioned is that previously, as what Honorable Pingoy mentioned, that there was a referral in her committee regarding the MOU. And that is now the motion of the Honorable Pingoy to take it out from the committee, because there is now a new communication coming from the Chief Executive requiring that this matter be treated as urgent. That would form part of the information on the motion of the Honorable Pingoy.
Okay, any second to the motion, if that is a motion?
Okay.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. Okay.
Under committee report, Committee on Housing and Land Use, item 1.1 to item 1.3.
Honorable Abris.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To our presiding officer and the members of the Sangguniang Panlungsod, good afternoon to everyone. We'll be rendering the report of the Committee on Housing and Land Use. The first report, the subject of which is the application for preliminaries of Development Corporation, represented by Ms. Maria Henrietta Ilafeña, located at Turong Pagplaza, Barangay Carpinteria,
Mr. Chairman,
City of Koronadal.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I advise the Honorable Abris to find a better signal, because we cannot hear complete sentence from the Honorable Abris.
Okay. Sorry, mag-change location na ako. For a while. Okay. Okay na.
Yes, better.
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 Okay, to proceed, Mr. Chair, the first report of the Committee on Housing and Land Use is regarding the application for preliminary subdivision development plan of Carpenter Hill Residences subdivision project under PD 957 of Happy Living Realty and Development Corporation, represented by Ms. Maria Henrietta de la Peña, located at Puro Pag-asa, Barangay Carpenter Hill. Findings and observation. I will just actually have to shortcut the report, Mr. Chair. No? Second observation, Mr. Chair. The proposed project, subdivision project, has an aggregate area of 66,667 square meters, covering 2 properties, with transfer certificate of 5.945.20190 square meter, and
Cutting out.
is cutting out pa rin.
Yes, cutting out.
Okay.
Okay, minsan hindi.
Hello. Anyway, Mr. Chair, copies of my report were distributed to every members of this August body, and all the findings and observations made by the committee were placed actually in the report. I will just have to proceed, Mr. Chair, to the recommendation of the committee. The committee unanimously and favorably recommends to the Sangguniang Panunsod for the approval of the application for preliminary subdivision development plan of Carpenter Hill Development Corporation, represented by Ms. Maria Henrietta de la Peña, located at Puro Pag-asa. Further, the committee recommends to calendar the disposition of the attached resolution on second reading in today's session of the Sangguniang Panunsod under unassigned business. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Vice, nakamit ka.
Any objection? There having none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that the attached resolution be calendared for today's second reading under unassigned business, Mr. Chair. I so move.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, it's now calendared for second reading under unassigned business.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To proceed, Mr. Chair, the second report of the Committee on Housing and Land is regarding the application for preliminary development plan of Old Haven Memorial Park, City of Koronadal. The findings and observation can be found in the report that were distributed to the members of this August body. And if I may, Mr. Chair, I will just proceed to the recommendation of the committee. The committee unanimously and favorably recommends to the Sangguniang Panunsod for the approval of the application for preliminary development plan of Golden Haven Memorial Park project located at Purok Kalikasan, Barangay Paraiso, City of Koronadal. Further, the committee recommends to calendar the disposition of the attached resolution on second reading in today's regular session under unassigned business. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any objection? There having none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In that regard also, I move that the attached resolution to this report be calendared for second reading deliberation under unassigned business. I so move.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved.
Lastly, Mr. Chair, the report of the Committee on Housing and Land Use. The subject of this report is the request for a resolution authorizing the city mayor to sign and accept the deed of donation of a parcel of land to the city of Koronadal for the 20% socialized housing compliance of Camellia Prima Koronadal to be used as a socialized housing site of the city of Koronadal. Findings and observations can be found in the report that I have submitted and distributed to the members of this Office body. Recommendation of the committee, Mr. Chair. The committee unanimously and favorably recommends to the Sangguniang Panlungsod to pass and approve a resolution authorizing the local chief executive, Honorable Ilyoto Yu Ojena, in representation of the city government of Koronadal, enter into and sign a deed of donation by Communities General Santos Incorporated for the donation of 19,725 square meters parcel of land located at Purok Boundary, Barangay San Jose, City of Koronadal. Further, the committee recommends to consider the disposition of the attached resolution on second reading in today's regular session under unassigned business. Finally, the committee recommends for the adoption of this report. I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. Committee report is hereby adopted.
Again, lastly, Mr. Chair, I move that the attached resolution be calendared for second reading under unassigned business in today's session. I so move.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, same item is now calendared until second reading.
It's under Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At this juncture, Mr. Chair, I move that we convene this body as a committee of the whole.
Second.
In objection, having none, this body is now convened as committee of the whole.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable Pingoy.
the subject is the request for a resolution authorizing the city mayor to sign and enter into a memorandum of understanding (MOU) with National Nutrition Council for the implementation of Totok Kainan supplementation program in the city of Koronadal. The National Nutrition Council has launched the Totok Kainan supplementation program, which aims to address the high rate of malnutrition in the country amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the city of Koronadal was chosen as beneficiary of the aforementioned program. Mr. Chair. And actually, Mr. Chair, we have 20 beneficiaries who are 6 to 23 months old, stunted, severely stunted, wasted and severely underweight children. The barangays identified are Taplan, San Zone 2, Carpenter Hill, Caloocan, Santa Cruz, San Isidro, Assumption, San Jose, and Sararapi. Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that. So,
And
do I hear a motion?
I move for the passage and approval of a resolution authorizing the city mayor to sign and enter into a memorandum of understanding with the National Nutrition Council for the implementation of Totok Kainan supplementation program and the city of Koronadal for second and final reading in today's regular session. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable Ugoy.
I have just a few questions, Mr. Chair, for clarification. Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask, how many days or anong time frames, Mr. Chair, for the implementation of the program? How many months? Anong
180 days, Mr. Chair.
180 days, so more or less 4 months, tama ka? Or roughly 6 months?
6 months.
6 months, Mr. Chair. Ano kanyang range ng edad na makabenefit nito?
0 to 23 months.
0 to 23 months, so 2 years old?
Yes, up to 2 years old.
Saan ba ito will it be implemented sa mga different mga barangay? O yan lang po nila? Paano siya?
No. We only identified 20 beneficiaries. That is barangays identified from Taclan, Paraiso, Zone 2, Carpenter Hill, Caloocan, Santa Cruz, San Isidro, Assumption, San Jose, and Sarabia.
Mr. Chair, how will it be implemented? Pupunta ba sila sa barangay? Paano yung mga social distancing natin? How will it be?
No, actually,
implemented?
since we only identified, and the office identified only 20, they have to bring the packed meals and the materials to the barangay.
And Mr. Chair, just a recommendation, paano yung mga social distancing? We will observe the same strict protocol for COVID-19.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Definitely, Mr. Chair, because we only have 20 recipients for this. When we talk of stunted, severely stunted, we only have 20 listed as beneficiaries. So pretty sure we have the social distancing for that. Kasi sa 20, 7, 4, 6, 8, 10 barangays na identified na may 20 na recipient.
So Mr. Chair, 20 lang ka mga bata ang maka-avail sila.
Yes. Kaya mo lang na analista. Yes. Amo lang na analista. Kaya mo lang na ang qualified sa stunted, severely stunted, wasted, and severely wasted, and severely underweight. So we only have 20.
Magkano ang budget, Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair, magkano budget per day or per meal nila?
Actually, there's no budget. Kaya ang materials or the packed meals, ang raw materials will be bought in national. Ang pag-abot na rin sa aton goods na.
How much is the total package na gihatag sa ako ng value?
Actually, there's no package, Mr. Chair.
So, matunon talang kung ano lang ang maabot, wala sa value na siya? Ano ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Kaya mo lang na nabutan sa MOU na to. Ang aton naman did for us is to provide ang sa city. We have to provide the utensils, ang fuel, kag i-transport atong mag-abot dali sa aton going to different barangays.
So,
Kag
paano
ang shipping materials like tomatoes, garlic, gawa mo lang ng counterpart natin.
so ato na lang mga lamas na mga Mr. Chair?
Yes, tomatoes, garlic, onions, oil.
Including the labor ang pagluto.
Sa nutrition na. Sa nutrition office na.
And that's all, Mr. Chair.
Any other from the floor? Hearing none, we go back to the motion.
Again, I
Honorable Tinggoy.
reiterate my motion, Mr. Chair. I move for the passage and approval of a resolution authorizing the city mayor to sign and enter into a memorandum of understanding with the National Nutrition Council for the implementation of Tutok Kainan supplementation program in the city of Koronadal for second and final reading in today's regular session. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any objection?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Honorable Hurtado.
we are in the committee of the whole, right? So what we are approving right now is a passage and approval to treat the matter for second reading. Hindi ko kasi narinig masyado. Tama ba?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I'm just recording it for the record of reiterating it for the purpose of recording, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So again, there's a motion. Any second to the motion?
Second.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved.
Motion to calendar for second reading, Mr. Chair. It was only an approval on the committee level, Mr. Chair. So, we have approved the measure on as a committee of the whole, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Chairman, medyo hindi kami magkarinigan, but I move that the said piece of legislation for second reading be calendared in today's session, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion that piece of legislation be called to second reading. Any second to the motion?
Second.
In objection? Having none, that item is now approved for scheduled for second reading. Ma'am Tess?
Okay, under second reading, I first, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make it on record that the Honorable Aguirre is here with me. Med sara yung laptop niya. So, present po si Councilor Aguirre.
If I may,
So, under second reading,
andito
under
si
second
Councilor
reading,
Aguirre sa atin.
unfinished business, item 1.1, an ordinance institutionalizing the educational assistance program for indigenous peoples, prescribing its guidelines and providing funds there.
Sa dito.
Yes.
Sabihin dito sa kayo.
May I hear the proponent on this?
Councilor Abing, unmute Anay.
Honorable Abing?
Unmute Anay, Councilor Abing.
Minute mo na. Yung,
Nakamute ka, Councilor Abing.
yung nang in.
Inang red nga microphone, pindot mo para unmute.
Hindi kita kamute siya.
Dahil ha. Dahil lang tabak, dahil lang yun. Councilor Abing, i-unmute mo, Anay.
Kailangan sa pan, microphone ara sa bottom left,
Oo.
bottom left ng screen.
Okay, unmute, Anay. Kung may magpa-assist ka da. Unmute. Ayan, okay na.
Ara na.
Ganda.
Mic test. Okay na. Yes, to the presiding officers and members of Sangguniang Panglungsod, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
This is the second reading. The proposed ordinance, Mr. Chair. And for that, Mr. Chair, I move to dispense the reading, the full text and ordinance institutionalizing the educational assistance program for indigenous peoples, describing its guidelines and providing funds. Therefore, Mr. Chair, I so move.
Second. Any objection? Having none, motion is approved.
And Mr. Chair, I move for approval and ordinance institutionalizing the educational assistance program for indigenous peoples, prescribing its guidelines and providing funds therefore. Mr. Chair, I so move, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Pingoy.
Yes, Mr. Chair. How many IP schools, do we have an IP, indigenous people, a school here in Koronadal, purely indigenous school? Do we have here in Koronadal?
In Koronadal, Mr. Chair, Imba Elementary School, Salkan Elementary School,
Where's the Imba?
all elementary school in Barangay Assumption, and Ingkong Elementary School, Dumanlahik Elementary School, and El Gawil Elementary School, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just a how many, how big or ang population sa schools you mentioned? Pila ang total sa population, more or less? How many?
Share ka ng link na nag-session.
All in all, Mr. Chair, from grade 1 to us, Mr. Chairman, we have 2,286 IP pupils and students, Mr. Chair.
That is only elementary.
Elementary and junior high school and us, Mr. Chairman.
So, may budget ba kita sining? How much ang ginapropose mo mga budget from elementary, high school, and the ALS? Kung ang population natin is like 2,000 plus, sila ang ginapropose mo mga budget for this?
Mr. Chair, no? Wala kita sang total na propose na budget, Mr. Chair. But ang ordinance lang, no? Nagapangayo kita sang budget in annual budget of every year na mabutangan sa sang LGU sang budget, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, because I'm asking this, Mr. Chair. Kung wala sang proposal nga budget, pila ang pwede natin mabutang nga budget? Because we are talking here, how many times ba per year kita maghatag sang? Kasi you mentioned educational assistance. Ano ba ng educational assistance natin? In the form of what?
Ang educational assistance, no? Ginapangayo natin, Mr. Chair, mga school materials lang, Mr. Chair.
Yes, because ang school materials is, the city is also giving school materials sa aton tanan nga mga schools, no? Sa mga public schools, naghahatag kita. Elementary, and I don't know, up grade 6 lang yata, no? So, base ang mag-duplicate ang aton bala, kung ang city maghatag, tapos mag-budget kita for the IPs, what will happen? Kaya naghahatag mag-git kita sa aton mga budget for school supplies in all elementary.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Kaya mag-double ini siya, mag-double kita nga maghatag.
I believe, Mr. Chair, kaya nga i-create natin create kita sang Indigenous Peoples Educational Assistance Management Team, Mr. Chair. Kaya ako lang mag-determine, no? Plus na sang budget. Then, kung ang sila natin siguro, no, mag-duplicate, no? But siguro, no, ang management team ang mag-submit sa ilang budget. Although, no, every year, no, naghahatag kita sa budget, may mga educational assistance program ang LGU, but kung tanawin mo, no, ang propose ang indigenous peoples ng sustainable na educational assistance. Kaya kung per program, no, pagbago-bago sa mga administration, kung wala sa naka-ordinance, may posibilidad na i-continue siya nga program, may posibilidad man na tulaon ng mga program. But purpose of my purpose ordinance is to continuation sa program, educational program for indigenous peoples, Mr. Chairman.
If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Presga.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Honorable Tinggoy manifested that basig daw duha ang hakag na to, no? Ang probation sa mga school supply kag atong hindi na pangayo sinang ordinansa. Mr. Chairman, siguro the contention of Honorable Abing is that siguro atong mga IP nga madala na sa sa regular provision sa mga school supplies nga ginahatag, regular budget na ginahatag sa aton mga schools diri sa City of Koronadal. Siguro padayon man to, but then siguro ang ginamin what is the contention of the Honorable Abing is that atong mga mga IT nga hindi matagaan dito. So, kailangan may allocation din sa ila coming from this ordinance nga dapat matagaan dito. Ay tama man na siling na ano no ang ano ni Councilor Pintoy nga duha na no kay ang pag-eskwela kay isa man na no isa ka ano inang school year inang school year no isa man lang na siya katuig. So ang probation sila sa regular kung di lang sila matagaan atong nabihay lang siguro no amo tong additional lang hatag sa mga IT. Since then the Honorable Abing is manifesting however well managed no the city kung sino man ang mag-lead the city adayon inang provision or ordinance ang ina Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, proceed, Honorable Hurtado.
I believe that the intention of the ordinance, by reading the entirety of the said ordinance, it aims to give assurance, as what the Honorable Abing mentioned, that regardless of who sits as the head of the administration, he is just trying to ensure that all IPs included in the who are studying, as mentioned by the Honorable Abing, be included in the educational assistance. Hindi guro tong may sobra nga hindi matagaan sa regular na nga ginobra, diba? So the intention is to ensure that all IPs, studying IPs under sa mga eskwelahan nga na-mention ni Councilor Abing will be provided. That is how I understand it. However, I have a question, Mr. Chairman, because looking at the ordinance itself, the title in itself, it says, an ordinance institutionalizing the educational assistance program. From the title itself, it says educational assistance program, Mr. Chair. There might be some sort of misleading information for those who will read it that it does not pertain to educational supplies only. So may I know if the Honorable Abing might introduce amendments later on to clarify or probably include in the definition of terms kung ano gid nga educational assistance program ang ginamin niya dire, because as he said, it is merely on the school supplies. So we have to be specific and clear about the kind of assistance that we are going to provide.
Yes, Mr. Chair. But in Section 4, Mr. Chair, a specific, no, in Section 4, particular in letter C, the school supply will be delivered to identified IP school and also IP community for learners who are enrolled to an IP school, Mr. Chair.
To follow up, Mr. Chair.
Yes, just proceed.
It is good that it is identified under the guidelines, but the title in itself, if you look at it, good if everybody will read up to the end of the ordinance, but sometimes on the title in itself, it can be misleading, Mr. Chairman, because we are talking about educational assistance. By the word educational assistance, there are several forms of assistance. It could be financial assistance or materials. Under Section 3, the guidelines, letter C, school supplies were mentioned, Mr. Chairman, but probably if the Honorable Abing would allow, that under the definition of terms, by the meaning of the said ordinance, educational assistance simply means specifically school supplies. To avoid misunderstanding, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
That is just a suggestion later on for amendments if the Honorable Abing will also consider. If others have questions, Mr. Chair, I reserve other questions later.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable Bingoy.
Yes, just an additional question, Mr. Chair. How often ba kita mag-distribute ng food supplies in a year? Is it, how many times ba kita mag-distribute?
Yes, Mr. Chair, proposal ordinance is only every opening of classes, Mr. Chair.
Oo, dapat
Once a year, Mr. Chair.
once a year. Yes, Mr. Chair, dapat mag-specific kita kung once a year. We have to put it sa aton guidelines. Kag we have to take note nga ang atong tagaan sa school supplies is from elementary, high school, and ALS. No? So, ano bang content sa aton nga school supplies? Considering lain man sa elementary, lain man sa high school, lain man sa ALS. So, ano bang content sa aton nga school supplies?
Yes, Mr. Chair, ang determine, Mr. Chair, ang Indigenous Peoples Educational Management Team, Mr. Chair, na mag-determine, siyempre, lain man kit ang 1 to 6, then lain man ang junior, and proceed up to ALS, Mr. Chair.
So, Mr. Chair,
Yes, proceed with your questioning.
so, sa follow-up question, ilagid bala in mind natin nga i-budget, kaya base karon budgetan sa gamay, kagkulang. So more or less, dapat we have already in mind, ang sa elementary, ano ba ang unod sa school materials sa elementary, sa high school, ano bang need nila, and ALS. So that more or less, may budget kita na lantaw diri nga ordinance. So base budget kita sa gamay nga kulang. So, for me, Mr. Chair, siguro ang content siguro kung ano man ang ara dira, tapos sa aton nga guidelines, para ma-state naton kung pila ang ma-avail, kag kung para thorough kag clear ang aton guidelines, para kung clear ina siya, maski hindi na gani need ang IRR para ma-implement ini, kaya na nag-delay abi sa IRR, kung ihatag putangan tapas ang IRR, ang implementation naton sa aton ordinance mag-delay. So kung toro ang aton ka-clear ang aton guidelines, siguro mas hapos i-implement ang ining ordinance. Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. But this is a second reading, Mr. Chair, and open naman kita sa mga suggestion, Mr. Chair, and amendment, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Clarification, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Hurtado.
Once this August body will pass and approve this ordinance, it would be emphasized that the budget allocated for school supplies with IP beneficiaries should no longer be counted in the budget of other school supplies to be given to non-IPs. Kasi base bala mag-concern ni Councilor Pingoy kagina, base bala magdoble. Because what we are approving right now is to ensure we are institutionalizing that the IPs will be provided with school supplies. So ang amon lang, ang akon siguro nga concern, Mr. Chairman, is to ensure nga hindi siya magdoble. So I think the Honorable Abing is also quite firm on that nga this is intended para ma-identify gid naton ang mga recipients. Am I right? So that is the only part of this ordinance that I am kumbaga clarifying, Mr. Chairman, because base may overlapping in the distribution of school supplies later in the budget preparation.
I believe, Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair,
Yes, proceed,
Uh,
Honorable Labing.
ang management team, siguro ang mag-handle sa implementation para hindi siya mag-dupli, Mr. Chair.
Yes, just proceed.
Sa purpose ng sining ordinance na institutionalizing, institutionalize lang siya sa educational assistance for IT. I-introduce para sa proposed ordinance, Mr. Chairman.
There was still no motion for amendment, Mr. Chair. We are still on the deliberation.
Okay, so can I hear a motion, Honorable Labing?
If I may,
Mr. Chairman, before that, what was
Yes,
the,
Honorable Hurtado.
are we finished on the deliberation?
Are there any other from the floor, any discussion or any clarification?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable James Agasca.
Mr. Chair, I want to reiterate my suggestion the last time we tackled this ordinance. That time, my question is that after learning the scope of the program, it is not the title of the ordinance broad. When I read the proposed ordinance, I realized that it's for school supplies only. Reading from its title alone, it gave me an interpretation that this is a scholarship grant. However, it was not so. So I suggest, Mr. Chairman, that to amend the title, include its sole purpose of the providing school supplies to IT students who are enrolled in elementary, high school, tertiary, as if that is the intent of the ordinance. I want to suggest that an ordinance be institutionalizing the educational assistance program for the indigenous people through the provision of school supplies for all elementary, high school, college, and all students in the city of Koronadal.
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman,
Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Honorable Hurtado.
is that a motion or a suggestion, Mr. Chair?
This is a suggestion, Mr. Chair.
Then we cannot amend it if it's just a suggestion, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Is it a motion or a suggestion?
Honorable Agasca, can you clarify?
Mr. Chair, it's a motion, Mr. Chair.
So it's a motion. Again, for clarity purposes, can you restate your motion?
Mr. Chair, I want to move that an ordinance to be institutionalizing the educational assistance program for all indigenous peoples through the provision of school supplies for elementary, high school, college, and all students in the city of Koronadal. As a Mr. Chair.
Clarification, Mr. Chair. Are we only amending the title?
The Balong Councilor Agasca is
Mr. Chair, siguro.
amending
Amending the
the
title, Mr. Chair.
What about the section 4?
Title.
It's still educational assistant management team.
we just motion kasi. Certification of terms.
Wala pa man may nag-second.
Honorable Lagasca, motion to change the title. Any second to the motion of Honorable Lagasca?
I second, Mr. Chair.
It is seconded. Any objection to the proposed amendment? Having none, the motion is approved.
Ano yun? Omnibus na lang. Kadami man ng educational assistance.
Next, any other from the floor motion or amendments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Honorable Hurtado.
to be consistent of the change of the title, Mr. Chairman, and to serve the purpose and intent of this ordinance, all educational assistance words that are part of this ordinance shall be amended into what was the earlier so ano to? School supplies? Ano yun?
Yes, for supply.
So it is, I move that it is also be amended to such, Mr. Chair, to serve the purpose that we are only really giving assistance such as school supplies.
Any second to the motion?
And
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. Next.
Mr. Clarification, Mr. Chairman, is the Honorable Abing is not prepared to put at least any amount for funding requirements, because as of this moment, we have not identified the recipients yet. So butangan ta lang siguro anay amount, and then kung kulang, di pa sumatugang lang.
Honorable Abing.
Mr. Chair, would like.
Yes, Honorable Brace.
Just a comment, Mr. Chair, medyo would like mag-determine sa amount kung hindi tabibalan kung ano ang included sa mga school supplies. So without the items that should be included ng mga school supplies, mabudlay mag-estimate. But kung wala man lang kita sang items, hindi na lang ito magbutang sang amount. So that what we are approving is only the idea or the program na mahatag kita sa mga school supplies sa talan ng mga IT na estudyante. So daw mo lang ning effects ini. No, hindi siya kayo specific as to what would be the program of these educational assistance. Therefore, hindi man kita ka-determine sa kabutang sa mga sakto financial. But at least we have institutionalized, or we make it as a program in the city government of Koronadal. Every year, may ara kita sa ginapanghatag educational support or assistance in the form of school supplies sa tanan nato ng mga IPs student. So, amo lang na siguro.
And this refers to
Yes.
elementary up to what grade, Mr. Chair? Just for the record.
so as
Okay.
in addition to the manifestation of Councilor Abis, hindi kita makadetermine sa amount. It's because hindi man natin siya hindi natin siya ma-fix, no, every year kung nagtaas ba ang IT student na enrollee or nagbaba siya, Mr. Chair. But the purpose na butang kita sa IP Assistance Management Team, amo ang mag-identify ano ang mga school supply na needed sa mga indigenous people's student, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, thank you for the clarification. This actually clarifies that also the ALS are included, right? Ang ALS natin, IP, included siya. Tama na.
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Cadilino.
Yes, I just would like to clarify only, Mr. Chair, on section 3, on definition of terms, letter B, it is ICC, but however, it was written here refers to the indigenous peoples community. I think it should be indigenous cultural community, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair, ICC, Indigenous Cultural Communities.
Okay, Mr. Chair, it will be
So, that's a motion.
subject to. Yes, Mr. Chair, it's a motion, Mr. Chair. That.
Second.
Thank you.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. Honorable Laping.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I move for the approval and passage an ordinance institutionalizing the educational assistance program for indigenous peoples, the provision of school supply from elementary, high school, and us prescribing its guidelines and providing funds thereof. Mr. Chairman, for I so move, Mr. Chairman.
As amended.
Yes, as amended. For second and final reading, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Any objection? Having none. Ordinance is institutionalizing educational assistance is hereby approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ma'am Tess, next item, please.
Still under the unfinished business, item 1.2, resolution endorsing the various projects of the city of Koronadal for funding under the special provision number 3 of the local government support fund, other financial assistance to local government units.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Honorable
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Last session, we discussed this said resolution, and some of the members of the council requested for a updates. And with that, Mr. Chair, I move to dispense with the reading of a resolution endorsing the various projects of the city of Koronadal for funding under the special provision number 3 of the local government support fund under financial assistance to local government units. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Second.
Any objection? There having none, motion is approved.
With that, Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of this resolution endorsing the various projects of the city of Koronadal for funding under the special provision number 3 of the local government support fund under financial assistance to local government units. I so move. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Maylin Bascon de Guzman.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I would like to know what is the exact project name of the completing roads from completing roads to Tito Kulay? Because I checked the program of work, the budget cost of the said infrastructure project is different from the project name of Councilor Cadilino, Cons. Mr. Chair, can you please check what is the exact project name? Yes, the project name nila sa program of work is the completing of road from the National Highway to Purok Maunlad. Purok Maunlad, Mr. Chair, is also same with the main road kasi yung main road is Purok Maunlad yun siya sa highway to Sitio Takilay. Okay, Mr. Chair, because based on your original proposal, what you have mentioned there is only the completing roads to Sitio Takilay. right?
Hindi, on the resolution from to, yes, to Market Road, from Market Road, Mr. Chair, to Sitio Mabango, Mr. Chair. But however, don't worry, Mr. Chair, since the copy of the program of work will be also passed together with the said resolution, Mr. Chair.
Okay, noted. Well, yeah. Regarding this infrastructure project proposal, I'm not objecting anything, Mr. Chair. But what I wanted is to the exact measurement of the project. Yeah, what I have said, what I have told you, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
yung sukat lang talaga ng
Mr. Chair, if I may.
the highway to Procmonland. My point is yung sa Sitio Triline lang. So kung 2 meters lang yung project proposal nila going to Takilay, then I totally agree with that. Yeah, but if the project proposal is 2-way or like 4 meters, that is really impossible to happen, and it's not really feasible because may ara dito nga bangin. So ang na I'm not objecting anything sa inyo sa sining special project. So ang ako lang get is concern ko lang ato sa Sitio Takilay, Mr. Chair.
noted, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair,
Just Honorable Labing.
manifestation, Mr. Chair, regarding the 2 meters road completing from Old El Gawin to Sitio Takilay, Mr. Chair. Hindi natin siya na mas mapalapad pa. It's because may ara kita sang policy, no? Sa FLUP. Kaya Sitio Takilay is within the CAPI area. But kung kinanglan ko dito, no, na mas mapalapad siya, mas tako ang environment na madamit sa atin na environment, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. If I may, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Presca.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Actually, gusto ko man nga i-recommend, Mr. Chairman, to the proponent that if ever, we will palapadon ta ang dalan because we also, for information of everybody, we also proposing mainline of Socoteco 1 going to Sitio Takilay, Mr. Chairman. So if we have no what we call this clear na dalan or exact na dalan na pwede nga ma-establish natin going to Sitio Takilay, and then hindi talaga makapasok kung natin yung electrification going to Sitio Takilay because yun ang unang yun ang unang na requirements ng Socoteco 1, Mr. Chairman, because the board of director of Socoteco 1, Ma'am Commisilias, already nagpunta na doon talaga sa Sitio Takilay. Nag-ocular inspection siya talaga. So the recommendation is that kailangan talaga magkaroon ng klaro na dalan, 5 meters. Siguro yun ang maganda, pinaka-standard na pinadaan doon, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable.
Mr. Chairman. Yeah,
Yes,
I've been to Takilay just recently last Friday. So when I checked the roads going to Takilay, yung sinasabi ni Councilor Presga, kung you will make a 5 meters road, concreting road going to Takilay, ang gagawin mo, you have to scrape the mountain. If the budget is enough, makasuffice ba siya? It will suffice for the said infrastructure project, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I've talked to the SPU engineer, Mr. Chair. Actually, Mr. Chair, is around 4 meters, and then meron silang para intended for the shoulder, Mr. Chair. And I have here, Mr. Chair, the estimated din nila, the program of works, Mr. Chair, 62 million, Mr. Chair. Siguro, since may project of works nila, na-estimate nila, then kung ano yung binigay nila dito, na estimate, kakayanin talaga ng 62 million, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Vasco.
Ayan, follow up. Because the project, ang junction, National Highway, Purok Maunlad. So, imagine, halin sa National Highway, simintuhon mo na going to Takilay, and you have to scrape also the mountains going to Takilay. So, we will assure na itong 62 million is, kumbaga pa, it will suffice. Kasi, baka naman mamaya, sabihin lang na until sa kalahati lang ng Sitio Takilay kasi kulang ang budget. Kasi, kailan sana kung ang project from Sitio Takilay going up, pero ang project is from the National Highway, Purok Maunlad. Ang ibutang nila dira nga dalan, it's not yung 5 meters, 4 meters. We have a standard measurement, standard yung concreting roads, tama? Mr. Chair, may I know the standard measurement naton? 3 plus 3, tama? 6 meters?
2.5 lang siguro, Mr. Chairman.
Yung standard? Are you sure?
But then, construction of, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, proceed, Honorable President.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, because we have the new construction of our concreting of roads, Mr. Chairman. Ang mga nakita natin yung mga concreting of roads, 2.5 to, doon lang ka 2.5, no? Dawa mo lang na ang standard nila karon, Mr. Chairman. So wala kita nakabot sa 6 meters, Mr. Chairman. Sa mga bago karon na construction natin sa mga barangay, Mr. Chairman. So, kaya ako, nag-recommend ako na 5 meters na talaga because that is, in the case of Sitio Takilay, Mr. Chairman, siguro tama na ng 5 meters talaga na ang sasakyan sa Chairman.
Mr. Grace.
So, that's all, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, thank you. Just a comment, Mr. Chair. I think that is why we required for the program of works, so that we would like to see the estimate of the engineers, those people who knows best because it's their profession. Kung ang program of works natin sa nila sa ato nagahambal na 62 million ang proposal nila, no, halin dito sa highway sa Purok at sa Sitio Takilay, then that is based from their expertise in eskwelahan na nila. That is why we require them to submit the program of works. I think we are not in the position to argue with what is provided dito sa program of works. Ang question lang na diri sa aton is, will we endorse this project para mapunduhan sa national government? And I think that is the main issue here. Pero kung istoryahan na pa diri kung dapat 3 meters lang, 4 meters lang, or 6 meters gid, may program of work sabi nga prepare ang engineers, and I assume nga bago nila ni Obrang ang ilang plano kag ang ilang proposal, they were able actually to look into the area also. That is just only my comment, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Vasco.
Mr. Chair, I'm not objecting here about this concreting roads project. What exactly my point is, gusto ko lang dibabalaan kung ang 5 meters ba is feasible ba siya mahimo road going to Takilay because I've been to Takilay. So anyway, kung I will siguro i-rely ko na lang, I submit to the all engineers of the to all city engineers, then we will see. Once it get approved by the national fund, then we are so blessed that they are willing to help the city of Koronadal. So let's see, because I have seen may ara kasi existing dito na himo na semento. It's almost 1 kilometer. It's existing dito. It's only 2 meters. So I couldn't imagine na maghimo sila sang 5 meters because ang umpisahan nila 2 meters na going to Takilay. You know, Presca, if you scrape the mountain, you need almost 100-200 million. If you want a road opening, kumbaga, butangan mo sang dalan ang bundok, it's almost 1 billion. Pero kung scrape lang, makagastos ka sa 100 million. Anyway, this is based on my personal experience when I was working in a consulting firm. So anyway, I agree. I totally agree. I'm not objecting about this project. We will approve this one, but make sure they need to make sure that they will implement the said program based on their project of work.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, Honorable Presca.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, hindi naman siguro na yung 62 million, 581 na budget para dyan is for talaga para matapos talaga yan, Mr. Chairman. It's Mr. Chairman, dahan-dahan, Mr. Chairman. Hindi naman siguro na talagang na yan, completion, Mr. Chairman, pagkatapos ma-consummate na the 62 million, Mr. Chairman, then another budget we will propose another budget for that, Mr. Chairman, until na makaabot doon, makadating, doon talaga sa Sitio Takilay. May doon talaga sa community. So parang ganoon ang project. Hindi naman sinasabi na bigla talaga tapusin talaga. Not like that, Mr. Chairman. Dahan-dahan man talaga first and second tranche, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so thank you for all the inputs. Maybe we should get back to the main proponent for the final motion.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Question pwede pa, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Pingoy.
Yes, ha. Kasi kung submit nila itong status of implementation per structure na-receive natin, what do we mean by speed? Speed table na 85% completed. They submitted ang progress report nila. What do we mean by speed table?
Honorable Cabilo. There's a question posed by Honorable Pingoy. What is the speed table?
Mr. Chair, actually, Mr. Chair, I am not really familiar with this. But however, looking at the picture, I think speed table, parang yung speed mo. Para mas mapahina lang konti. Nag-regulate yung speed. Yes, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Pingoy.
Yes, siguro dere is yung humps. But naka-active, yes, humps. Kung naka-active ka mo dara sa outside sa Rizal Park, there is a JC Avenue, kung kataas ang ilang humps, daw ka, Mr. Chair ba? Kahit masyado kataas, then kung mugo ang imo tricycle, magsayad. Yes. I don't know kung nang pagsukat nila, sinang-humps nila, ay hindi man fast-moving ang mga vehicles sa dara. Pero ang humps na ginbutang nila, masyado kataas. Yes, masyado kataas. I don't know kung paano nila i-address na. Kaya base ang mga tricycle na nag-aaldi dira, base bala ma-disgrasya or ang mga motor. No, kaya daw kataas kaayos ang humps nila, ang speed table nga ginasiling nila. So, observation ko lang, Mr. Chair. Agree with Councilor Pinggoy na medyo mataas. Sige lang, noted, Mr. Chair, na i-ask din natin sa engineering, Mr. Chair.
And one more additional question, Mr. Chair. Since we have only 37% pa lang ang sa phase 2 naton, pila ang amount sini? We're talking how much na ang ano naton sini sa 37%.
Yes.
21
Sa phase 2?
million.
Pardon, Mr. Chair. Yes, sa phase 2, Mr. Chair, regarding the 21 million, almost mga sobra na tayo 900,000. I think nasa 916,000 na yung na-spend dito sa 21 million, Mr. Chair. So, meron pang remaining amount na 20 million for the phase 2.
Okay.
Are we talking about the Rizal Park or the
Rizal Park
Okay.
phase 2. Rizal Park on phase 2, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we're talking now about Rizal Park.
Phase 2.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, additional, Mr. Chair, because there's a proposal for phase 3, construction of drainage system at Rizal Park. So I'm just wondering, if ang drainage nila, subong lang sila ma-construct, harap na sa phase 3, 6 million. So anong ginaobra ng previous na dapat gi-implement ano yung drainage para hindi ma-hamper kag kung ano may lastado ano ang drainage system naton sa Rizal Park na maasubong lang ining drainage nga 6 million. Right? Ang iyang linear meter is 969. Wala ba ni na-include sa 38 million sa development? Or this is a separate one? Ay, drainage ni. We're talking about the drainage.
Yes, Mr. Chair, it is a separate proposal, Mr. Chair. Another proposal, Mr. Chair. Kasi sa SDP natin na-approve, hindi kasali ang drainage system sa Rizal Park, Mr. Chair.
So hindi ba dapat when we develop sa mga dapat unahon natin ang drainage? Naaulihin yung drainage nila. I don't know, hindi man ako technical person, hindi man ako engineer. I don't know nga ulihi ang drainage. Ang wala lang question ko lang in my personal ko lang na question. Ay, hindi ko paano nakaulihi ang drainage. Ay, dapat.
Yes, we don't have technical, since we don't have technical persons, your questions are duly noted. And we'll send an official query to the engineering department just to satisfy our inquiry.
Sir Chair.
Yes, Honorable Ugoy.
Mr. Chair, this is the question directed to Councilor Cobilo. Councilor Cobilo, we have a request by the executive department. Ano ito yung request nila sa mga for Rizal Park alone? This is for the drainage.
Yes, Mr. Chair, yung sa Rizal Park for the phase 3.
Ano yung request nila bago?
Amounting to 38,400,000. Ang components is the stage and benches, the flagpole landscape, the garden pond, park benches, the park and perimeter landscape, lightings, parking area, the bike lane pathwalk, the playground development, signages and garbage disposal facility, the stage renovation, and the volleyball court, Mr. Chair.
Okay,
That's for the phase 3.
Kung mo na request na 38 million, pinakabilo ka development niya, roughly mga 12?
12, Mr. Chair. Yes, Mr. Chair.
12, okay. May ara ka ba sa sa rundown, sa nga budget, sa steel, sa flagpole, may specifics ka ba sila, or sagol-sagol na niya siya tanan?
Nahalo na siya, Mr. Chair, pero
Diluted kasi siya So, pabudaya kita subong magpaano na siya, diluted siya. So, wala ka makasang specifics din para maintindihan ka ni.
I don't...
Mas mahanay siya. So,
But however, maybe I'll give you a copy if I have it.
Open yung lang tayo because it is very important. Because although we are not spending the money of the city government, and although this is only a request, pero as sa Bunya Palon, so this is our duty. So, mga specifics diri. And then, so 38 billion. Atong sa Takilay, pinag-rate ko siya ka meters,
3,880 linear.
Linear meter.
Yes, Mr.
Tapos,
Chair.
pila ganit ni siya ang budget niya? 28?
62 million, Mr. Chair, sa Takilay.
62 million?
62.5 million.
62.5 million. Tapos ang estimate lang is 3,400 linear meter.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Nakapasta ba siya sa specific? May alam ko sa standard na?
May harap ka sa program of works, Mr. Chair. I can also give you a copy of it, Mr. Chair, regarding the project proposal of the Takilay, Mr. Chair.
So, ibig sabihin ng Takilay is 62 million.
Yes, Mr. Chair, 62 million.
Ano ka road? Ano ga itong road? May isa?
Sitio Ngabango, Sitio Ngabango.
So, pila to ka million ganyan?
Sitio Ngabango is amounting to 36 million, sorry. Medyo mas gamay.
Ilang ka linear meter ni?
Ang linear meter is around 2,180.
30.
30.
Sorry, 130. Sorry, 2,130.
So, chair, namakot ako. Ay,
Mas halos ka tunga.
Hindi ba yung budget nila nakapasaba ni sa, amo nakadakugid?
Actually, Mr. Chair, right now we are just passing the proposal. It's up to the national if it's up to them kung i-approve nila yung budget natin, Mr. Chair. Or yung proposal natin.
Mr. Chair. Standard ba ni siya? Sa mga upland area, yung sinagpamon ng gitna siya kadako.
Yes, usually, Mr. Chair, the
million or 50,000 linear meter, ang gitna siya kadako.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Ang pagkabalo ko daw 30M, ang standard na 1 kilometer linear meter, daw mga 30M. I don't know kung saka doon. Pag-i-check lang, kaya daw medyo mataas ang
Okay, Mr. Chair. Actually, yes, this proposal is subject also for sa national din i-approve nila. Siguro i-inspect pa rin nila ang lugar, Mr. Chair. Before
That's all for the meantime, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Honorable Cabilo, can you have your final motion?
Yeah, with that, Mr. Chair, I move for the passage of a resolution. Sorry, Mr. Chair, wait. Mr. Chair. With that, Mr. Chair, I move for a passage of a resolution. Approval of a resolution endorsing the various projects of the City of Koronadal for funding under Special Provision Number 3 of the Local Government Support Fund under Financial Assistance for Local Government Units. I so move, Mr. Chair. On a unanimous sponsorship, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. The resolution endorsing various projects for funding under LGSF OFA. Next item, Madam Secretary.
Under the unassigned business, still under the second reading, unassigned business. This is the offshoot of the committee report, item 2.1 to 2.3.
Yes, Honorable
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. On joint sponsorship by the members of the Committee on Housing and Land Use, Mr. Chair, I move for the approval of a resolution approving the application for preliminary subdivision development plan of Carpenter Hill Residences subdivision project by Happy Living Realty Development Corporation, represented by Ms. Maria Henrietta de la Peña, located at Purok Pagasa, Barangay Carpenter Hill, City of Coronadal. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Another resolution, Mr. Chair, again on joint sponsorship by the members of the Committee on Housing and Land Use. I move for the approval of a resolution approving the application for preliminary development plan of Golden Haven Memorial Park Project, represented by Mr. Art Jester Valencia, located at Purok Kalikasan, Barangay East, City of Coronadal. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Any second to the motion?
Second.
Any objection?
Second.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. The application for preliminary subdivision of Mr. Valencia is hereby approved. Next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, again on joint sponsorship by the members of the Committee on Housing and Land Use, I move for the approval of a resolution authorizing the local chief executive, Honorable Eliordo U. Ocena, in representation of the city government of Koronadal, to accept the donation by Camellia Communities General Santos Incorporated of a 19,725 square meters property in Barangay San Jose, and authorizing further to enter into and sign the deed of donation. I so move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved authorizing our mayor for the deed of donation. It's hereby approved.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Next item, Madam Secretary.
Item 2.4, a resolution authorizing the city mayor to enter into and sign the memorandum of understanding with the National Nutrition Council for the implementation of Tutok Kainan supplementation program in the city of Koronadal.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable.
that's subject to form and style. I move for the passage and approval of a resolution authorizing the city mayor to sign and enter into a memorandum of understanding with the National Nutrition Council for the implementation of Tutok Kainan supplementation program in the city of Koronadal. I so move, Mr. Chair. And unanimous.
Any objection? There having none. That resolution granting MOU with city government and regional nutrition office is hereby approved. Next item, Madam Secretary.
That's the last item, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you so much, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable
Mr.
Abris.
Chairman, yes.
is that part of the OB, Mr. Chair?
The query of Honorable Presca, is that part, your concern is that part of the OB?
Mr. Chairman, this is the part, if this is possible, I want to, Mr. Chair, to, before the adjournment, to present to you the barangay concern regarding our COVID-19 cases in the city of Coronadal, Mr. Chairman. What really transpired during our Liga ng mga Barangay board meeting yesterday, Mr. Chairman, if it is proper, Mr. Chairman.
Probably we'll discuss that after the adjournment.
Mr. Chair,
I submit, Mr. Chairman.
yes, but Mr. Chair, if I would suggest, if the Liga has already conducted the meeting and you have already the proposal, you have to make representation to the executive and propose it to the executive.
Yes,
Now,
Mr.
the Sangguniang Panlungsod will come into the picture kung kailangan niya ng pondo, and that will come later after the executive will have to agree first.
Yes,
There being no other matters, Mr.
Before
Chair,
that, Mr. Chair, before that, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
Mr.
Honorable.
Chair.
Before that, I would like to make it on a proper motion, Mr. Chairman. The nature of our session will still be on Zoom or face-to-face, and I would like that to put on record by way of motion, Mr. Chair, on the next regular session.
Zoom.
Any motion from the floor?
Zoom lang yapot ta.
Mr. Chair, I move for the another Zoom session on the next regular session, Mr. Chair.
Second to the motion, any objection? Having none. Our motion is approved. Our next session will be still
Same
an
time.
online session.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
adjourn na.
Without,
Let's have an adjournment first before any concerns to be discussed.
Okay po.
Honorable Abris.
Yeah, I move to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
second,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Any objection? Having none, motion is approved. Our session for May 4th, 2021 is hereby adjourned. And now it's a time for any concerns, Honorable Sorongon.
Mr. Chair, I would like to ask kay ang SK Federation of Koronadal will be conducting its session on Thursday, first Thursday of the month. So, Mr. Chair, allowed ba tayo mag face-to-face even though hindi siya concerned for the COVID?
My opinion is that if the area can allow 50% of the capacity, that would include all your members, pwede mag face-to-face. Basta yung area na gagamitin nyo, 50% siya, kayo, ng kanyang capacity. So kung 25 kayo, you can have a face-to-face doon sa area na can allow 50 persons inside.
Sige, sige po, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Oo. Next concern.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Pinggoy.
Yes, concern ko lang sa kay SK. Better siguro, Councilor Clarias, for our own safety siguro kung sa inyo man, nag-spike ang cases natin sa Koronadal. For our own safety, dapat ma-consider ninyo rin na siya. Kaya kung naga-face-to-face, hindi man natin give hindi ka mo mag-istoryahan, ay kakuha ko nyo ang mask mo. So, better, kung ako lang ha, personally, kay damo naging cases kasubong. Every day, 29 kag-ina ang nagbuwa ka atin. And this morning, pila kabinog ang gisbuwa nila because may close contact. Now, ang mga kabataan, siguro ang sa ako na suggestion is better for our safety. Hindi lang anay kita mo face-to-face. Anyway, you can do it naman through Zoom. Nakayo man kami sila, ang mga kabataan siguro. Kaya para wala na gid siyang basukon ba na kasi within sa inyo, mag-spread, magniara dara.